ProfsCast with Professor Fensterle and guests. Yeah, hello and welcome to the ProfsCast. My name is Joe Fensterle of the Rhine-Waal University in Kleve in North Rhine-Westphalia in Germany, and I'm professor for biotechnology and bioengineering. This is the first ProfsCast, but as you see, without a guest. Normally, I would sit here with a guest, but today I want to explain you in this first ProfsCast what is it all about. Yeah, in this ProfsCast, I will talk with different guests in the field of biology with a focus on their research, but also career, hot topics in their field, and how they fund their research will be content of the talk. What is the target group of this podcast? The primary target groups are simply my students. However, everybody with an interest in biology can listen, and maybe you should also have some background in biology. It's not mandatory to have some background, but it makes things easier to understand. The podcast will be in shortened form on YouTube, and the long, real versions, the full versions will be on all podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, and so on. Now, the question is, what does my students mean? The students this podcast is intended for are third semester students of bioengineering, which study in the English study program bioengineering at the Rhine-Waal University in Kleve. And in this third semester, they have a module which is called Current Biology. And the Current Biology module has two parts. First part is get in contact with state-of-the-art research and state-of-the-art researchers. And the second part is learn how to write and where to apply for research grants. Normally, of course, if you want to get in contact with a state-of-the-art research would mean you invite someone and he presents his research with a PowerPoint presentation, for example, and at the end you have a discussion. There are two problems. Problem one is actually Corona. But there is also a second problem. The second problem is most third semester students will not be able to digest, let's say, 30 minutes presentation of state-of-the-art research. And this means that at the end, if there is a discussion, usually students are quite silent in these discussions. And therefore, the idea is the presentation will be as a podcast. So it's not a presentation in this case, it's a discussion. I will discuss with my guest, as I said. I will have then the guest who is in the state-of-the-art research in different fields. I will discuss with him or her about the research. And the students then can listen to the podcast before we meet, and then they can digest somehow the research, what was talked about, and understand everything. Now, at a later time point, then there will be a live discussion. In Corona times, of course, it's digital. In real times, this would be on place. And in this discussion, the researcher will be present also via WebEx or Zoom in a Zoom session. And the session will be moderated by a group of students. In the second part, as I said, the students are intended to write research grants. So they should write their own grant application, which of course will be a simplified grant application for different programs. So they should also look for what programs are there, what program fits to their intention, and then they write a grant application. If they agree, the guests will also be involved in having a look on the grant and giving the students a feedback how they find their grant. Ideally, the topics will be around the topics also of the guests. Yeah, of course, the discussion part is exclusive for my students, but the podcast is open to everyone. So if you have some background in biology, this helps, but this is not mandatory. If you want to be part of the WebEx sessions, you just need to inscribe to bioengineering at the Rhine-Waal University in Kleve, as many others have done. At present, bioengineering at the Rhine-Waal University in Kleve, just as a side note, we have 60% international students, 50% women, and we have students from 65 nations in this study course. So you would be also warmly welcome. I'm really looking forward to start this completely new format and to meet my guests. And hopefully we see or hear again next time when I say welcome to my first guest. Goodbye.